I think what we need to sort of do is take a step back and sort of understand sort of how media has shifted and evolved to where it is today.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we are connecting and we have a special guest from Israel. So, Jonathan, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jonathan Rittenberg. I'm the founder and CEO of the Reverb Thought Leadership Agency. We're based in Israel, but we serve clients in the United States, here in Tel Aviv, in Israel, Canada, all over the world.
Jonathan, so why you decided to open your own company? I saw your background in LinkedIn, right? And you have been working for top companies, for corporate. They give you very comfortable life. They pay you good money. So why why you decide to open your own company?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Harry, and it's a story that I like to tell to people. So my background was in marketing. I worked for very large tech companies, Discovery Channel, GoPro, Red Bull Media, TikTok. And when I moved to Israel, I went in from the marketing side into the sales side. And I was selling software. And
Mm-hmm.
although I loved the sales, I was really more interested in thought leadership and personal branding. So how can we get people to be their best on digital media, whether that's social media or website or anywhere? How can we make them appear their best and not necessarily make them something that they're not, but bring out the best in them? And I wanted this to be my career. I wanted to work on this type of endeavor, but I was looking around and I noticed that no one is really hiring for this position. It's very specialized, like you're working direct. So you're working directly with the CEO, you're working directly with the CTO, CMO, and you're sort of a consultant. And a normal company isn't hiring for this. So I said to myself, I said, is it possible that you could create this role for yourself, and you could try it, and you could try and acquire clients and see if you could create something that is maybe needed, and then establish a business based on it. And
Absolutely.
that's how it started about a year and 3 or 4 months ago. And what's now happening is we've seen that this type of thought leadership, content on LinkedIn, having founder-led growth, we see that this is very, very important now. It's almost, if you're a B2B SaaS company, if you're in cybersecurity, financial tech, generative AI, your CEOs and your executive team, they must be active on social media. This is how companies are driving business right now. So it's extremely important.
Yeah, I think that the issue what companies don't have the position with the personal brand, right? It's because this is a concept that is very is not as new, but it's a concept that was not around in the 80s or in the 90s, right? So before you used to have the company and you hide behind that brand as a CEO and everything was okay, right? So you have the brand and you don't need uh, to show who you are. In today's marketplace, the consumer need to know who's the person behind the company. The other way around, they want to know about the person first, even before they buy the product, right? And there I think the personal brand is one of the most important things in business. I think that um, things that you can achieve with personal brand, you can achieve with money. Right? I don't know if you've seen the U.S. election. You see Donald Trump to get elected as president, right? And well, nobody knows that he has a very strong personal brand. One of his opponents, he put 1 billion, and he couldn't beat him, right? And you know, the other one that have a very good personal brand, latest is Michelle Obama, right? Today, now she's more famous than him. The and he she started to work on her personal brand after Obama left the presidency, and Michelle Obama had built a very powerful personal brand. Even some people were saying to put it forward for the presidency of the United States. So what can achieve? Why, Jonathan, share with the audience why personal branding is so important?
So that's a good question, Harry. And I think what we need to sort of do is take a step back and sort of understand sort of how media has shifted and evolved to where it is today. So when social media first came about, well, first before that, we have press, right? We have advertising, we have press, we have these things, newspapers, articles, blogs, and now we have podcasts. So this is sort of like your traditional form of media, and then social media came along, right? And when social media came along, the brands were doing the most talking. They were putting out a lot of content, and a lot of people were following these brands. But what happened was is that these brands started to try to sell to people. And you had, Coca-Cola and Disney and Pepsi and these big and these big companies, and people started to get tired of it. They said, I don't want to follow these brands anymore because they're just talking about their product as a brand would, right? It makes sense that the brand talks about their product, and they should be talking about the product. But what's happened is that these the voices that are behind the brand or the brands themselves, this type of outreach and engagement has become deprioritized, and it has become people have become desensitized towards it. They don't want to hear from the brands anymore. They want to hear from the people behind the brands. They want to hear from the leadership. So at this moment, the CEO of a company, the face of that company, and his profile and his positioning has as much equity, if not more, in a buying process than the brand itself. So there's a statistic from eMarketer. It says that 82% of people are more likely to buy from a company if the executive team is using social media. So the average consumer is almost 100%. It's 82%. It's close to 100% more likely to buy from a brand that they can understand who the people are behind it. So this is the importance of your personal brand, is that you can actually use social media to drive conversions for your business. And it starts with being a good person in your day-to-day life. So if we're good people, if we're nice to each other, if we have a lot of friends, if we become popular in real life, then we can convert that success and popularity onto social media, and we can use it to drive our business. So to your question on why is personal branding important? Because we're seeing this sort of founder-led growth, this sort of this importance of the person behind the company versus the company itself. And you have all these initiatives like people are they want to they're more consumers. They're much more conscious of what's going on. They want to know the ingredients inside the packaging. They also want to know the people behind the company. So that's sort of where we see the importance kind of growing, and why this motion is so important to a lot of people right now.
Absolutely. And then the other thing, Jonathan, is that so what message do you have for all the CEOs out there that they think, where I don't care about my personal brand, I don't have time to do the social media, I just need to focus in the profit of my company and in my employees. I don't have time for this. So what message do you have for those CEOs?
Right. So I get this objection a lot, Harry, when I'm speaking with CEOs. I met with one this week, and he didn't want to, he didn't want to put in the time to his social media and his personal brand. And so look, like if they don't want to, then I say, okay, it's not everyone wants to, but the thing is you're leaving a lot of money on the table, a lot of potential
Absolutely.
customers on the table. And if you can't see that benefit that the people around you are doing, then maybe you need to get your eyes examined, because you see these huge thought leaders that it it doesn't take that much effort to get there. It just takes consistency. So I'm not asking, I'm not asking you to spend 8 hours a day on social media. What we're saying is we need you for 1 hour a week. And we can talk about like the process and what that looks like and how we work with our CEOs and founders and things like that. But if you're not excited about, growing your social media or growing your LinkedIn or putting in 1 hour a week, then you might want to evaluate like where you're spending your time and where you're spending your money, because right now this is the best way to get close to your customer. It's the best way to, social media, like we're talking about like putting out feature updates, like talking to your customer directly, being able to reach out to someone, having someone inbound you on messaging. So, and it costs nothing. It literally costs nothing. My agency, we have a retainer. It's not a lot of money. It's relatively inexpensive. And, this is more effective than paid advertising. It's more effective than running PR campaigns. And it's probably the best way. It's probably the best form of marketing at the moment is this founder-led growth.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.